welcome. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Bonnie and I am a homeschooling mom of 2. And in today's video, I wanted to show you and share with you what a typical day looks like for my high schooler. So I recently had somebody, well, it wasn't really recently, it was a couple months ago, ask me if I would go into more detail with what his day looks like as a 10th grader. So he completed 10th grade and I wanted to show you the books that he used, some of his completed tests and papers, what I did for his transcript, and I also wanted just to go over what a typical day usually looks like for him. So he completed 10th grade, and I can't remember what day we started. I think we started around August 26th last school year. This year we will be starting hopefully sooner than that, even though, I don't know, I said we were gonna start August 1st this year, and now I'm leaning more towards just starting August 20th or 21st. So we will see how that goes. But typically, he usually gets up at 7 a.m. He has his own clock in his room. He has an Echo Dot, so he can set his alarm for 7 o'clock a.m. It goes off. Does he always get up on time at 7 o'clock, or does he usually sleep through his alarm? Sometimes he does sleep through his alarm. And so sometimes I do have to wake him up. Sometimes I will reset his alarm because I have the Alexa app on my phone. And since he uses the Echo Dot, I can say, well, we'll set it to 7:30 because he didn't get up at 7. The only reason why I do that is because he has a very harsh evening. He gets really, really tired. He swims. So he swims for about 2.5 hours every evening. And if he swims, he's exhausted. So I'm kind of more lenient towards him sleeping in a little bit, even though sometimes he'll say, I didn't hear my alarm go off. But I really want to be able to teach him how to be independent, how to manage that, get to class on time, get to school on time, get down for breakfast on time, just to teach him how to acquire those skills. So he'll get up usually at 7:15. Then he gets dressed, he picks out his own clothes, he comes downstairs, we have breakfast. I make the breakfast usually in the mornings, he does not. So sometimes I'll make a breakfast for them, or I always make a breakfast, but sometimes I'll have eggs, bagels, some of that kind of stuff. So we have breakfast together as a family, and then I go over a devotional with them. So we always have like a Bible devotion in the morning. We don't really have a morning basket since they are middle school and high schoolers. We pick a book, a devotional, or we will use the Bible and we'll read through it and study a certain book in the Bible. And then after that, he goes upstairs. I do not make them do chores in the morning. They don't wash their own dishes or any of that. Let's see, they go upstairs and they are responsible for keeping their rooms clean, for making their beds in the morning. They do those. And then my oldest likes to do his own Bible time on his own for about 10 minutes. So he's trying to read through the whole Bible on his own. I think he's in Song of Solomon, so we've been having quite a few interesting topics and discussions about that chapter, that book of the Bible. So he's been doing that on his own. So I'll allow him to do that for a little bit. And then he will come down and then we will start classes, usually by 8 o'clock. I try to have him start classes by 8. So if he starts by 8, we will be done by 3. So he does take an hour break for lunch. So I do make the lunch for them and they take about an hour. So sometimes that can be kind of lengthy, the lunch period. But I have heard other people, and we've tried this a couple of times, what they will do is the children will eat lunch while they are watching the DVDs. So this speeds up the school day for them. And I think it's a great idea. I actually love the idea, but my 17-year-old didn't like it. Go figure. So I've also had people say they eat breakfast while they do Bible. And that works too. I think that's a great idea, even though some people want that special time together as a family. I understand that too. But if you're trying to really go through your day fast, if your high schooler has a job or if they have sports, I do recommend eating lunch, eating breakfast while you're doing biology or chemistry or history, whatever it is subject it is that you're doing. One of those, not necessarily math, because you need to have your hands and stuff for that, but some of the easier classes, I do recommend that. But he doesn't like that, so we don't do that. So he takes his hour lunch. He does have a habit of taking a 10 to 15 minute break in between each class, which I don't really like either, but he does set his Echo Dot for about 10 minutes. He goes up there and he just takes a break. Sometimes he will actually do the homework for that particular class during that 10-minute break before the class. That's usually towards the end of the school year, towards the half of the school year, winter quarter and on. So what will happen is he gets so busy in the afternoon with sports and coming home late at night from the sports that he doesn't have time to do all of the homework. So what he will do is he will save some of it for before that DVD class, and then he'll do the 10, but it ends up being more than 10 minutes. It ends up being 20 minutes, and then it makes our day last even longer past 3 o'clock. So yeah, we're still trying to figure that out. I don't make him do all of the homework. Some of it, it's not really necessary to do all of it. Some of it you can just easily just not do. But like for math and for subjects that he's interested in, I really want him to have that additional reading, the additional practice on those subjects. So he does school from 8 to 3. We usually start with Bible, then his math, then the grammar, just like they would do in a typical school. They usually start with math first, then grammar, then the biology, then history, and then 6th and Spanish will be last. So that's how it usually goes. And at the beginning of the school year, because swimming starts at the end of September, at the beginning of the school year, it's relatively easy. When sports start happening is when it gets really crazy. And then sometimes he's not finishing his DVDs till 4. And then it's just, do we watch the whole DVD? Do we not? And skip it to just the reading. So you just really have to figure out what works well for your child and your family. The homework curriculum the homework is not graded, but it is a good asset for them to help them learn the material and understand the material more. So that's basically his day. He has sports. He usually eats dinner at 4. We don't get home to 7:30 or 8, and then or 8:30, and then he eats again, and then he may have 30 minutes at night to do some homework, and then we start all over again. So that is basically a typical job. He does not have a job right now, like a working job where he goes out. I know some people who do, they're independent, they do their DVDs, they go to work. So since he has swimming that takes up all of his time, he doesn't really have a job. He did over the summer, he is over the summer, he's working a couple of days with my husband. But other than that, that is what his typical day. I'm trying to think if I'm leaving anything out. I don't think. So he has done co-ops before, but I think this year, we're still not sure since this is July. I don't think he's going to do a co-op again this year. We do have, well, I'm talking about the Classical Conversations co-op, but we do have another co-op that we are doing that's more of a hiking group and a field trip group, and he will be doing that. So if there's a co-op day or if there's a field trip day, we will take off that day from school completely. And he does not use a Saturday to make it up. We do not do that. So he does do field trips days. That's why I wanted to start August 1st this school year, so that we would have more time to do those field trips and not get so far behind. But there is no such thing as getting far behind when you homeschool, correct? Anyways, I will flip the camera around and I will show you what work he's completed, what his books look like, so you get more of an idea what kind of curriculum he's using and how much he's completed and what he's done. So let me flip the camera around. Okay, so here are all of his books for 10th grade. I think most of his books are here. We're missing a couple of readers, but this is basically what he has done for 10th grade. And I will start off with Bible because that's usually what is usually first for his morning. Now, this is the Abeka curriculum for 10th grade. This is the most updated curriculum there is as of 2023-2024 school year. I don't think I'm missing anything on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, there's 6 subjects here. And then Bible is what he usually starts with. And then this is what the Bible book looks like. Here's the contents page. And he has this book right now up in his room. So when he's done with the books, I give them to him so he can keep all of these books in his room, in his bookcase. So he has access to every single one of these books. I don't keep them and I don't use them for my other child because they may be updated by then anyways, even though they're still going to closely resemble this book and these books. I always make sure that he has these for if he needs them for college or if he needs them just to look up things, to study for the ACT. He has these all in his room. So here is the Bible doctrines. This is what they use. They also use the King James Version Bible. He really enjoyed this Bible. So this is about 50 minutes. There's his Bible book. And my husband really likes this too. He studied a lot. My husband has studied a lot of theology, and he likes all of the contents and everything. So this is a 50-minute class, 45, 50 minutes, and this is his first class. Then after that, he goes into geometry. So when you are planning out your curriculum for 10th grade, you can swap out the maths that you want to swap out. So a lot of people for sophomore year, they did Algebra 2. However, I opted to do geometry instead of Algebra 2 because our local school district does geometry in 10th grade. Okay, so I wanted to turn it around to talk about geometry. So I know that some people, when they are choosing a math curriculum for 10th grade for geometry, I know some people who really don't even use a geometry book. What they will do is they will use a book and just do a couple of lessons on geometry, and that's it. I encourage you, though, to get a book that focuses on geometry for them. Don't try to skip around with geometry. Don't try to not do a whole course of geometry. It's tempting. I thought about it because some people say, well, we did Algebra 2, but we also just put a little bit of geometry in it. My recommendation is for you, do not do that. I know that a lot of people taking the ACT, so there's a lot of geometry on there. There's a lot of calculus on there. And I don't know, I always feel like, I remember taking geometry and I hated it. I hated it. But for his class, I really, really liked the geometry class. His geometry teacher for Rebecca, there are too many theorems. I completely agree there's too many. There's not that many constructions, but some of them are very, very hard. But I just think that I'm doing my child a disservice if he doesn't have a whole full year of geometry. So I encourage you, when you're picking a math curriculum, pick one that has geometry for the whole school year, not something that's combined with Algebra 2. I think Algebra 2 should be its own lesson, its own book for its own year, and geometry should be it. Now, there's something that I'm actually forgetting in this book. I'm going to actually go get it. Okay, so even though he took this geometry, he also did these. So this is basically, he did on a separate paper. This is basically reviewing concepts of algebra. So while they're doing this, they're also doing this in the morning. So I think this is really just really good practice for them. And if they don't finish it during the school year, you can do it throughout the summer. So I think this is just a really good practice for them and for me. He did this on a different separate pieces of paper. But this will help him remember, except for that one, remember what he's doing in regards to basic algebra principles while he's also doing this. But this is what the whole chunk of his math video is about. It's just geometry. This is on the side. So if they want to do this, they can do this. There are some that are graded in there, just a couple of them. But if you're unaccredited, you don't have to do that. I just did it because I think it's just important to go over some of these basic algebra facts. So back to the geometry book. Here's his geometry book. The DVD is very old. I think it's like 20 years old, but he just loves the teacher. He loves watching the kids. I really enjoy watching the teacher put things on the board. So this is basically just some of the topics and theorems that they went over. He went in and he highlighted important things. So this is just what his geometry book looks like. See, all of this he completed in a notebook. And I was going to show you an example. So there's just some of the theorems that they have to do, and it shows you how to do the theorems. But I think if you're going to do geometry, I highly recommend the video because the video just explains everything. The video makes it so much more better. There's the Pythagorean theorem. Not too much of that. I was surprised. Not too much of that in geometry. And then at the very end, they do go over a little bit of trig at the end, which I don't even know if he's going to remember this for next year. But they do introduce trigonometry. So let me show you what his geometry book looked like. So they're required to keep a geometry notebook, and they're supposed to write down what the professor says, write down the theorems, write down the definitions, the axioms, the postulates, whatever they're called. He's supposed to actually write them all down. So here's just some of the theorems that he did. And, you know, sometimes the teacher does not, the professor doesn't write down all of the steps. So I was always telling Josiah, you know, you need to kind of write down more of what the teacher says, especially when he's trying to explain the constructions. The teacher doesn't write down usually step by step how to get the constructions. He just writes down the diagrams. So Josiah would have to go and try to put down directions on how to do the diagrams, or he's not going to remember them. And the constructions are not in the book. It doesn't specifically, from what I could see, the constructions didn't tell you, put your compass here, put your protractor here. It's not that specific. So my recommendation is when you're getting to the constructions, have your child, I don't even know where they are. I'm not very familiar. Like this is what Josiah did. He did this on his own. So the teacher did not do this or say these. The teacher said these things, but he didn't write them on the board. So they just did this, the teacher. And so I said, Josiah, you really need to write down. And so he started writing down specifically, draw a line through the intersecting arc, because there's no way that he was going to remember the steps. This teacher will basically say, how do you inscribe a circle inside a given triangle? Well, your child's not going to know how to do that unless they write their own notes. So have your child maybe try to write their own notes. Get used to that because that happens a lot in college. And they are graded on this in geometry. So this is all his to go back and keep upstairs in his room in case he ever wants to go over any of that for whatever reason. That is his. So that's geometry, and I wanted to show you. So he got a B- on this 9-week exam. He got 80%. So I'm trying to see. He ended up getting a B in geometry. I'm trying to see how many pages it was. There's not that many pages in this one. It was 4 pages, but they are very lengthy and they are worth a lot of points. There's always a lot of points. Here's another one. I did not keep all of his tests. I only kept some of them. Here's test 1, 89%. He did get some 95s. And then, let me go back to the earlier test. So he did get semester exam test 2. He got a 97%. And that's, oh, this is Bible. That's Bible. That is not geometry. I'm trying to find the earlier geometry ones. If I've kept them all, I don't know. Because, so here's quiz 2. He got a 90% on. So usually they take off 5, 10 points. I put, okay, 5 or 10 points for some of these. And so if it's usually just like a vocab or fill in the blank, he could get those right. Because he knows that they are, it's just actually putting them into perspective. That one he got 100% on. So that's basically what his geometry looks like. Some of the tests that he's done. But grammar is so important because you have to know how to write papers. And he does not like to write papers. He does not like to write research papers. He likes to write essays and paragraphs and stories and comics, but he doesn't like to write research papers. So that is kind of a struggle here and there, but it's necessary to do. So here's a look at some of his grammar. Now, the teacher in the video, she will assign work for them to do during the video. And so she doesn't assign all of it. So if you see spots or blank here, it's because she didn't assign them in class. So it goes over the topical outline. First, it starts off easy, right? Just a regular essay, which he did do. Parentheses, diagramming. I hate diagramming. But he does pretty well with diagramming. And then it gets more intense. Subjects and verbs, the complements, DOs, the IOs, all that. Here's a full length essay, and then making verbs and nouns agree, but singular, singular subject, singular verb, plural, plural subject, plural verb, dictations. Then they have the reviews. I'm trying to flip through them really fast. Here's author project, which he did do. He did his author project on C.S. Lewis. And then it goes into more diagramming. So I know people who just skip the diagramming part altogether. They don't even do it. But I do the diagramming part with him. And so that is basically grammar in a nutshell. It does tell you how to write the research report. At the end, there's a handbook that goes over the definitions and how to do everything. So you could always just tear this out and make it a separate book for them to review over the summer. So that's grammar. Here's his spelling. He is a great speller. I will have to say that when he doesn't even study. I mean, he knows how to spell all of these words. So basically they have a vocab list. Where's the spelling list in the front, I think? Then they have their spelling, and of course it gets harder the more that they go deeper into the book. The vocab, I think, is just great. The vocabulary list, some of these words, I don't even know what they mean. But here's the spelling. And so that is basically what a typical 10th grade vocab and spelling book looks like. Here's his literature book. So some of these stories, he did not read all of them because we were just so busy. He did read a lot of them. And some of them he's already read before. But he really enjoyed, what was this one? The Flickering Light of the Cave, The Deck to Victor from Homer. So I think it just it gives him a good, it has poetry. It gives him a good look at some of the stories that are in here. Sometimes it would take a piece here and there, some Socrates, and then we'll have pictures and diagrams, Alexander. So this is Charles Spurgeon. So he did enjoy this book. So they have this to read. In addition, if they have a book report, the book report done. So he's done Finish the Race by Eric Liddell, A Midsummer's Night's Dream, Juliet. These two are required for 10th grade. These two are not. These two are required. So Julius Caesar, William Shakespeare, and Silas Marner, which I really like Silas Marner. I think I just like the teacher for 10th grade. She just really explained everything so well that it's just, I remember reading this book too. And they did her paper over that as well. So that is grammar. And let me show you really quick what his one of his research report on C.S. Lewis that he did. So he put her name there. He wanted to put her name there. But that's what a typical heading looks like. And then he's got his works cited page in the back. So just trying to get him to do more of these is very helpful for them because you know that's what they're going to actually be doing a whole bunch of. So that's an example of the paper. I'm trying to see if I have grammar in here. So there's Bible. I didn't really show you guys any of the Bible, but Bible is pretty basic. I got history. I'm trying to show you grammar. Where is the grammar? Spanish. So here's grammar. So some of the grammar tests that he did, he got a 99 there, 97.5. So he did really well with the stories. He does well in grammar, he just doesn't like it. So grammar is like not his, that's biology. There's the vocab, particular vocab test that was list 9A. So that's what the vocab looks like, and then the grammar. I'm trying to find a good one for you guys that has like what some of the what's it called, the diagramming, and I can't seem to find any. So they'll do this, like you have to put in the right where what would be on 72, that would be the subject, and what would this be for 73, the verb. And so they do that. I mean, they also have them draw their own too, but I don't know what those are for right now. And biology was his favorite. Biology is something that he wants to study. So biology is something that I wanted him to keep up track with his homework, keep reading it. I like the biology teacher. I really like the lab book. And so this is just a quick look. It has biology. He wants to study biology and science in college. He wants to be a zoologist. So it tells you careers in biology. I just really like this book compared to some of the other ones that I've seen from different curriculums. He really likes the parts of a cell. So let me go back to the contents page for you guys. So it introduces botany. That's unit 1. Unit 2 is human anatomy. And then life science. It talks great talk about evolution, especially if your children plan on going to a secular college. Great, great, great statement of faith. Great way of how evolution is a theory of how it cannot be proved. There's no transitional fossils, and it's just really, really good, and such a strong area right there for evolution and Christianity. And then they did go into DNA. So let me see now his field and lab report manual. We did some of these on our own. We did our own specimens for a lot of them. We ordered our own specimens. He did some of them also with the teacher. We did not do all the lab reports. Sometimes we just did it on our own. He liked the protozoa. That was a big one for him. I did not necessarily make him do all of the questions. We did those verbally. And so he's just really into labs and biology. And we do have like a little microscope for him to view things on. So he just really had a good time with the class. I'm trying to see some other stuff. Starfish. And we also did this as part of a co-op too. So we would answer the questions together in a group. Ugh, did not like that pig. We did not do the pig. And we did the heart. And that was just so interesting. And then the blood types. So I really, 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 really recommend this book. Let me see, there's a contents page for you guys. And I will link down the 10th grade video down below as well. But I love this book. Can't get enough of that book. It was fantastic. Loved it. Highly recommended it. Now let me show you the biology tests. I think I put them in the same notebook that he did. It's Bible, world history. Let me try to find them. Spanish. So this is test number 4. We got 87% in. These tend to be lengthy. This is the human anatomy one. So altogether, I just really love biology. They don't always have essay questions on them. Sometimes they do. He's not that great at the essay questions. He'll try to zoom by them really fast. I say, you have to go back and redo them. They get graded on the labs. They get graded on the lab book, the lab report book that they have to do, the manual. But this ties in with the test, so it just helps reinforce what they've learned in the textbook. Spanish he likes, and it was hard for him. So I sat in with Spanish with him. Now, if you see them blank, it's because they didn't go over them in the video. She would say, you know, you do these odd ones, or not do these, and do some of these. So I liked it. They had people come in from different countries. From Argentina, they had somebody come in. That's his notes. And then it was just, I liked the teacher. I think she did a great job teaching Spanish. And he's taking Spanish 2 for his junior year. And basically with this, it's just practice, using it in the everyday. I love how they have the memorization of the Bible verses into Spanish. I love that about this class. Let me go back into the contents. There's some more notes over there. So it goes over the alphabet. It goes over irregular verbs. Those were kind of hard for him to do. Present tense. But I think it was a great curriculum. And then they did his oral fluency exercises where they actually said this to each other, or I will say it with him and he would say it back with me. So we practiced this together, just the two of us. He would say something in Spanish and I would answer it in Spanish. So this book, and there are some songs. I just love the songs too. They would sing the songs in the video and we would sing along with them. So it's just, I've got the joy. I just love this book. So they did probably this maybe once or twice a week. The rest of the time they were out of this book. So those are the two books for Spanish. So I think some people take 1 year of Spanish in high school. For us, we're taking 2 years of a foreign language. So I recommend 2 years of a foreign language. Let me show you, if I can, the Spanish. So there's a verse exam that he had to write in Spanish. I'm missing history. So history should have been next, but that's okay. Those are his verses that he did. He got an A- for this test. And I thought some of these tests were could be very difficult. Like he had with the infinitives and the IOs and the DOs. But he eventually got the hang of it. He does like Spanish. Okay, so this is a look at his grade level 10 for his transcripts. I have not put any grades on there. It tells you the credits for each one. It tells you the credits on the Abeka website, how much the credits are. Those are the classes that he took. And this 6.50 is the total points that he has from freshman year. So it's not counting these credits yet. So that's what I did for his transcript. And then for his other one, so over here for his course name, he took all of these for his freshman year. He was in classical conversations for his freshman year. And so debate counted as a half a credit, I believe. And so he did get credit for debate. They have it on their website that if you took it through the CC, that is a class that you can count as an elective and get the 0.5, I believe, credits for that class. So those are what he took his freshman year. 11 I have not put on there. And then 12 I have not put on there. The only thing I don't like about this transcript is that there needs to be more space for the extra curriculum or extra electives that he's taking or extracurricula. So he's on the USA Bobcat swimming team since 2024 to present. He did study Latin for 2 years for classical conversations. Now, a lot of people will count the Latin as an extra elective, like a half of a credit, but I am not counting it as a half of a credit yet because he's taking Spanish. And I mean, Latin is hard. It's just, I don't want to overdo it and make it seem like this transcript is not what it really is. He did Latin, but I'm not going to count it as an elective credit. I'm just going to keep Spanish. He did study it for 2 years, but I didn't grade it. It was just a regular class. So, and then he was Classical Conversations Memory Master in 2021. He got an award for that. So that is basically what his transcript does look like. And I'll probably do another video just going over his transcript. Okay, so that was a lot of information. I tried to go really fast because I know you guys are busy and you have other things to do with your time. But I will try to, the lighting's bad. I will try to upload some more curriculum videos. And I'll hope to do another transcript one once I put his grades in there and get the sophomore year done, which I should have already done already, but I haven't done that yet. And I will try to get that taken care of and put together and do another video about how to do the homeschool transcripts and how to incorporate sports and all that into that. So that is, I think I forgot to tell you that I think I am going to be adding on to his, either his junior or his senior year, a financial literacy class. So this is starting to take effect in a lot of schools across America. They're starting to require children to take a financial literacy before they get their diploma. So I know, I saw something, I think it was Compass curriculum, or there was Dave Ramsey that does the financial literacy. But I know that for junior year, they do life skills for Rebecca, and that can also count towards financial literacy. Just be careful when you're doing your high school transcript that you make a note of financial literacy in there, because I know for the state of Ohio, they have started to do that. So I want to make sure that I dot all my I's and cross all my T's for him and make sure that he's got everything that he needs to do to graduate. Even though he's getting his diploma from Rebecca, I still want him to have all the credits necessary so that he doesn't encounter any hurdles, even if he was to get a diploma through Ohio. So that's what I'm trying to do. And it's a lot of work, you guys. It's a ton of work to go through all these, to get the transcripts. It took me forever to do the transcripts. And it's just a lengthy process, but it's very, very rewarding. And I ask my kids every year, I say, do you want me to homeschool? Do you want us to stay home and homeschool? Or do you want to go to public school? So if there was a Christian school, I probably would send them to that. But since there's not, they are home with me. But I ask them every year if they want to go. And they're like, no, they don't want to go. Even if they want to take like an art class, which I may have my youngest child do, they still don't want to do that. So I always leave it up to them. I'm not forcing them to homeschool. I'm not forcing them to stay home with me, even though the school districts are not as great as I would want them to be. And they don't incorporate that Christian biblical upbringing that we try to teach our children. And we try to role model what it's like to have that relationship with God. And how do we incorporate that? And how do we blend that in with the material that we're learning? So I don't know. Let me know if you guys have any more questions, if you would like to see anything else specifically, or if you have any tidbits for me, because this is the first time I've homeschooled a 10th grader, and next year will be junior year for me. So if anything that you want to tell me that I need to be doing better, I'm all ears and I am all up for hearing what you guys have to say. If you want to say something to me about our grammar or about math or something that's helped you or something that you're noticing about us, then our schoolwork or the way I'm doing things, then please don't hesitate to say, did you ever think about doing this? Or we really like this book, or we really like this approach to geometry or algebra too. Just let me know in the comments below what advice you have, or if you have any questions for me. I am up to hearing about those too, and hopefully this video has helped you and given you some advice and help for when you homeschool your 10th grader. And thanks so much for watching, guys. If you have not clicked like and subscribe, please do that. Your support of this page means the world to me, and I hope these videos help you. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will talk to y'all later. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye-bye.